the spirit of senioritis, it took me quite some time to write this speech, and yeah, so it's an honor that my peers asked me maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and yes, I did finish it, not really, maybe a few minutes ago. So please bear with me, I apologize, in no way do I mean to be disrespectful, it's just, there's a lot of emotions going on. But, so, I'm going to start all the way from the beginning here at UCSB. So within the first week here at UCSB, circa fall 2009, I remember learning 2 very, very important things. 1, I learned how to ride a bicycle at 18 years old. And 2, I found out that I'm Asian. I'm Asian. Absurd, ridiculous, perhaps. I really didn't know how to ride a bike before coming to UCSB because we live on a huge hill in San Francisco. And I really had no idea I was considered Asian by others. In some ways, I guess you could say I'm sheltered because I was born and raised in this strange liberal bubble I call San Francisco. In no way is San Francisco this ideal, peachy utopia that only brews good vibes, daisy chains, equality, and great dim sum. But I have to say, it is noteworthy when you attend public schools all your life with kids of all different socioeconomic, cultural backgrounds, and they all seem to know one thing. Everyone knows what a chop suey bao is. It's common knowledge. So clearly, coming to UCSB was a huge culture shock for me. Initially, my freshman year, I was very eager to go out and hit the scene and all the beach fun. I walked down the street from my house, but I was only greeted with Ching Chong, sorry this is offensive, Konnichiwa, Ni Hao, and my personal favorite, the Oriental Fantasy. As surprising it may seem, I was often left speechless and baffled, often thinking I was overreacting or being pessimistic and just looking at the world in such a dark way. But the encounters, of course, persisted, feelings persisted, and the feeling of being I just felt overlooked, ignored, disrespected, left only powerless and frustrated. So my personal encounters are in no way far-fetched. In fact, it is pretty common amongst students of color here to face both subtle and obvious acts of racism, as well as all the other isms that we learned in class, whether it be carried out by a linguistics professor here at UCSB making fun of the way Chinese people sound, or by members of our D1 soccer community who decided it would be amusing and acceptable to write a threatening letter to the blind Asian S-word and throw a brick through her car. I'm sorry, Professor Park, I know you told me to keep it audience-friendly, but I had to put it in. So for students like me, the Asian American Studies Department is more than just an academic department and faculty. It literally is my community, my support system, legitimately the only way that I stayed at UCSB. My classmates are all my friends that I hang out with on the weekend, drink wine with, and talk about Freire's pedagogy of the pest on the beach, education reform, mixed race identity formation, Mika Thornburg, and how we really should have nominated Professor Pena for Mr. Hyphen magazine. Because we respected what Professor Min told us, which was to not. But, you know, it was out of, I didn't mean to start anything. But just know that we think of you in just such, you are Mr. Hyphen. My professors, who I have yet to partake in any type of recreational fun with, so don't worry, are more than just my academic advisors. They are my mentors, and I would love to call them my friends. I often ramble to them, tell them about my existential crisis and how I don't understand capitalism, and they always seem to be patient and kind and deal with me. And when Professor Zhao cooks for us, I guess you could say they're our parents away from home. I don't know if you guys would like that label. So like the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child, and I understand that legally I'm not a child, and I have been raised by a few communities, but this is one of them. This department and this program has shaped my perspectives and exponentially. Inspired me to really ask questions, to trust all my questions inside, even if they aren't very eloquent or they don't really make sense. Professor Panda knows what I'm talking about. Inspired me to ask questions, to speak up, to take a risk, to challenge existing structures, to look at the larger picture, to think critically, and to analyze deeply. Sometimes I feel narcissistic for majoring in Asian American Studies because every class I learn more and more about myself, my possible self, my family, my roots, my history, our larger history, my voice, and my place in this world. In no ways can words clearly articulate or capture the extent of my overwhelming gratitude and appreciation for the Asian American Studies Department and community here at UCSB. If you all don't know by now, I am a notorious doodler, and I'm sure you've seen me in your classes, just drawing and not really looking up. But I do pay attention, and so maybe I have this, I didn't plan this right, but all my doodles over there that I have for you all to convey my thanks. But again, I'd like to thank my parents and my siblings for dealing with me, my peers for always making me feel special and just make me feel good about what I produce. And honestly, this was not very cohesive or eloquent. I'm sorry again, but I just really want to convey the fact that this is truly a community. And honestly, if students of color like us did not have this resource, this community, these people in our lives, woo, there would be some type of unrest. So thankfully, through my educational experience, I'm happy to say that I had a great time, mostly because of all of you. And just now I have a myriad of tools to use whenever someone calls me an Oriental fantasy, and I thank you all for that. Thank you all for coming. And congratulations.